So this is the recording number 62, and I'm going to start it with the reading from the list, from the paper, from the desktop. One of my earlier rhymes, because I didn't reread it for a long time, and it's the Holy War, the translation of the Russian song Священная война. Let's go. Stand up, enormous motherland, start fighting to the death, cut off the fascist evil head, exterminate the rest. Let our people noble rage rise higher than before, release the tiger from the cage, we fight the holy war. We forge St. George's sacred spear to pierce the dragon's chest, to build the world without fear, we crush the devil's nest. We must defeat this Satan's mob, turn back the sun's eclipse, annihilate the swarms to stop the world's apocalypse. Don't let the fascist heartless scum take all our land can yield. Don't let the hoofs cause any harm to our vast green fields. We build the piles of bullet shells to keep our mothers safe, to seal the fascists in the hell. We dig the deepest grave. Stand up, enormous motherland, start fighting to the death, cut off the fascist evil head, exterminate the rest. Let our people's noble rage rise higher than before. Release the tiger from the cage, we fight the holy war. And I read this poem for the first time as the poem because after translating it, I tried to sing it the way they sang this song. And in the end, it sounds quite well like the poem. And now my latest poem, which is the translation of Мандельштам's poem «За грядущую доблесть грядущих веков». The translation is the following. I was stripped and deprived of my rightful birthplace and my joy and that honor of mine for the glory and fame of the whole human race, for the future to prosper and shine. When the fierce wolfhound age aims its teeth at my throat, though I'm neither the deer nor the wolf, push me deep like a hat in the sleeve of the coat of the dry hot Siberian moor. I'm so tired to see all the cowards, the dirt, all the bones and the blood and the wheel. Let me watch the blue glow of the Arctic fox fur and enjoy its primeval appeal. Take me far to the night where the Lena flows by and the pines reach the stars in their gleam. Since I'm neither the deer nor the wolf, then I'll die by my equal and only by him. Okay, and the last poem for today is my favorite, which is the translation of Simonov's «Жди меня», and it sounds like this. Wait for me, I'll come to you, wait for me so hard, when you feel completely blue, when you fall apart. Wait for me when you're not well, wait no matter what, wait for me when they don't sell blue forget-me-nots. Wait for me when you don't get news from far away, wait for me when they confuse letters on the way. Wait for me, I'll come to you. Listen to no one who tells you the time to lose or the hope has come. Let my mother and my son think that I am gone. Let my friends and everyone, let them all be wrong. Let them drink the bitter rime for my soul's rest. Wait for me and stay all calm, join in as the guest. Wait for me, I'll come to you from the deepest hell. From the other's point of view, that's my lucky spell. Those who didn't wait for me cannot understand that your waiting is the key for my safe advent. Only you and I will know how I fled from death. You alone could wait and hope, like no one on earth. So I decided to take these last two lines without my favorite you're my savior, you're my hope, you're my raison d'être, because when you listen to the rhyme, it's better to catch the meaning of this earth thing, because reason that you need to know the translation, and the pronunciation, that is French, and other stuff. Anyway, talking English, reading this poem gives me some starting feeling of English, as I learned that to talk kind of fluently, the way I can talk fluently in English, to someone like Masha, I need to start to have some warm up, and these poems give me quite a good warm up. So I think I will start my next English videos with these poems. Anyway, I read a couple of good old science fiction stories that were written in 1950s and in 1940s. Well, they are from the collection of the books, collection of the stories, which is called in Russian "Крылья ночи", because of the title story, which is called the winds of night, maybe the night winds, the winds of night. And I found this story. Of course, I read it in Russian because it will be faster to me. It is faster to me to read in Russian. And I didn't like this particular story, so I'm glad that I spent so little time on it, but I can retell it right now in English. And with this, I have the material that I can use for this particular video session in English. Okay. The story is written in 1942, I think, before the first before any rocket was sent to the cosmos, to the cosmos, and far, maybe 20 years before the man was sent into the cosmos, and almost 30 years before the man walked on the surface of the moon. So at this point, the scientists believed that somewhere on the moon or on Mars there are intelligent creatures, kind of humanoids, that had this civilization. Okay, if I say in the past, I need to say in the past. The scientists believe that there were intelligent creatures who built the civilizations on Mars, for example, and when in the future the humankind would travel to these planets, when in the future the humankind traveled to these planets, they would definitely meet these intelligent creatures, or maybe just the remainings of their civilizations. And all the stories were about this thing. Of course, there were fantasy stories about magic, dragons, and other stuff, but the science fiction stuff was always closer to me, because it's more about our own world with the advanced technologies. But all this earth, sea, Middle Earth and other stuff, they are the completely different worlds with the different rules, the different history, the different people, and that's why I couldn't relate to them too much, and I think I can't relate to them even now. Maybe that's why that's why the series of Harry Potter and the Twilight series were so successful, because they brought the magic and the vampire stuff into our real world, into our contemporary reality, without going many years to the future, or without going into the completely different reality and different worlds. So this The Winds of Night is the story when the humans can travel throughout the whole solar system in the rockets, and they can communicate with different races, like Martians who live on Mars at that time, for example, and the humans think that they are the superior to the Martians and to any humanoid race in the solar system or in the world, because they are humans. Anyway, these two particular guys, they had the problem with the engine in the rocket, and they couldn't reach Earth, moving from Mars, and they wanted to make. They did the emergency stop on the moon, and somehow they got on some place which was I don't know, the pit, some tunnel that went underground, but this pit was covered with some special metal covers, and when they wanted to land the rocket on this surface, they thought it was this special place to stop the rockets, but rocket stop. But these two covers, this lid opened up, and the rocket moved downward until they reached some bottom, and they found out that there was air still inside this pit, because there were no atmosphere. On the moon, and they knew it very well. And what else? Yeah, and then they discovered that there is some creature, like monkey-like creature, and this creature could understand their thoughts, and it learned the language very, very quickly. And this creature was the only survivor of the race who lived on the moon many million years ago, but somehow they all died. And when the race was at the peak of the development, they had the spaceships, and they traveled to all the planets of the solar system, and they did this when there were dinosaurs on the Earth. Yeah, and they met someone on Venus and on Mars, but since then somehow the people died away, and he was the only one. Every creature in his race was bisexual, maybe. They could produce some eggs, and the other creatures could be created, could be born from these eggs, but he needed these special chemical elements like copper, because he needed some copper, and he didn't have it, so he could not create he could not create the eggs to produce the children. And in the end, he went into the deal with he made some deal with these guys on the spaceship. They give him the role of the copper wire, and he repaired their engine in return, and the technology that he used to create to repair this engine was advanced with this technology, because the engine worked at 99% of efficiency, but the original engine created by Earthmen worked only at 20% of efficiency. So these two Earthmen lived his what was it? His pit where he lived, and they went to Earth, and they were going to sell this technology and got money, and he was going to use this copper to produce lots of future generations of his race, and maybe in the future his ancestors, his descendants, descendants of the sun, his descendants will create the spaceships again, because they all possess all this knowledge from the past, and they will travel through the solar system again, and they will meet with the human on Earth, and so on. With this, the story ends, and I don't end it, and I don't like the story. I think when I read it for the first time in this particular collection of the stories, I didn't like it either. That's why I didn't remember it at all. And when I retell it like this, it's not so bad, and I think I can use it to get some English terms for this story, because it doesn't seem to be very difficult in the terms of English words that are used in this story. Yeah, I think I can take the story just for the sake of the words. And the other two stories that I read, they are written by Andre Norton, and it was the surprise for me to discover that it was a woman, not a man, like because Usually the science fiction authors are men, but a woman, the same way Ursula Le Guin was the woman as well. Anyway, I learned that Andre Norton specialized in writing fantasy stories, and she had lots of fantasy cycles, series. Yeah, but she had some science fiction short stories, and 2 of them were put into this collection, the Winds of Night. Okay, I have forgotten to say that this story about this creature from the moon and these 2 Earthmen, it was called the Winds of Night because when this creature recalled its history and its technologies that were advanced many millions of years ago, but now for some reason the atmosphere left the Earth, left the moon, and the winds of the night were spread above his motherland planet. Yeah, because on the moon there is always night without any atmosphere. There is no blue sky, no dark sky, so there is always airless cosmos that surrounds the moon. Okay, but Andrew Norton had her 2 stories published within this collection of the stories, and one of them was All the Cats Are Grey. And well, I like the way she gave the premise of the story, when she kind of gave some gossips, some small facts about some particular events on Mars, and about the character, and then she created the story with this character, very short story, but with some with something in the end, something like the mystery in the end. So and I remember from that time, maybe 20 years ago, when I read All the Cats Are Grey, I remember that there was a woman in the gray coverall, and she was a great mechanic, but I didn't remember the idea of the story, and now I record it, and it is really cool. So first, Norton describes this woman as very specific woman who always who wore only her gray coverall, and she had her hair in, I don't know, covered somehow as well, and she could work with some huge computers, so she could find the job at any planet she wanted, and she spent her time in some bars with other guys who traveled along the world, along the solar system. She listened to their stories, but she listened to the stories, but she talked very rarely, or maybe very seldom. But when she talked, everyone remembered her words. And there were some simple, some very short description of her achievements, like she recognized some rock that some guy discovered somewhere as very specific, I don't know, material or very specific, ore, and 10 enormous what wealthies were created that night when people dug out this rock. And what else? Yeah, she saved the life of one guy for whom she described some creatures somewhere. And when he got into this particular place, her descriptions saved his life. So he returned back and he gave her the cat. And since then, she started to live with this cat, and this cat was always with her when she sat in these pubs. Okay. So the story was about the guy who had lots of debts, and he almost lost his spaceship for his debts. And then she came with her cat, and she told him that the Emperors of Mars returned, and that meant that some spaceship that was loaded with lots of jewelry and other stuff again goes by its orbit, and it will be near this particular planet very soon. Lots of people tried to get on board of this ship, but many of them died, and those who survived, they just ran away from it, and never described what experience that they had on board. So she, her cat, and this guy, they came to this ship. The guy moved to the pilot. I don't know the particular word. Anyway, to the place where the pilots usually sat, and he started to work at the all the mechanisms, and she just explored the rooms of the ship when she discovered some room where there were lots of jewelry and other stuff. And then she watched some invisible creature. This invisible creature had some jewelry on its hand, That's why she could observe this creature, and the cat could see it very well, and the cat kind of pursued this creature when it started to walk along the ship to the place with for the pilots where the guy was working on the mechanisms. So the woman followed the cat followed this invisible creature, and when this creature moved in front of this guy, the woman saw this creature somehow. Then she removed her coverall and put it on the pilot's chair, and then the cat made the creature follow him, and the woman took the blaster from the guy, and when the creature was in front of this coverall on the seat of the pilot's seat, she just shot it with the blaster. She shot it with the blaster. Yeah, and after that, the cat behaved quite peacefully, which meant that there was no other creatures on this ship, and the woman described that she could only see the shades of gray, the way the cat saw it. That's why she could see this invisible creature when it walked against the gray background, the gray coverall on the pilot's seat, and she killed this creature. So this invisible creature was the reason why all the explorers who came to this ship died, and why some explorers ran away but never told anybody about their experience on the ship. So the guy repaired the ship, and they I don't know, moved it somewhere, and after that they married. Okay, when she removed her coverall and the cover from her hair, he saw how beautiful her hair was, how beautiful her shoulders and her arms were, and they married. And at some point, the guy who told this story from his perspective, he said that he saw them at some point in some pub with the cat. She wore a magnificent red dress and some jewelry on her hands, on her wrists, and the guy paid to the waiter with a 3-digit check, maybe. Well, when I retell the story, it doesn't sound so cool. The story is quite, original, but the way it is cool is the mastery, maybe, of Andrew Norton, because it's her style of writing that makes this story so cool for reading, even in Russian. So I think I will read this story in English sometime later. And the next story that I read It was written by Andrew Norton as well. It's really cool. It has the same style like some reporter from the newspaper, from the television on Mars. He explored the pubs once a week to find some interesting stories, and there were some sand creatures on Mars made of sand, and these creatures had very specific shapes, like Spider-Man, man spider, I don't know, frog, crab frog, and they were just like some monuments on Mars, and the museums on Mars protected them. They surrounded them with the electroshock wires, because when the first explorer or tourist touched some of these statues, they just turned into sand, but they could stay really well in all these temperatures, the high temperature of the day and the low temperature of the night, and they survived through all these sandstorms, but they couldn't survive the touches of a man. And all the creatures were discovered, and they were all protected, but Earth scientists wanted one of these creatures to themselves, to explore, to I don't know the word. They wanted to make experiments on this statue to decide why this creature was created, yeah. And they promised a lot of money for the one who could transfer this statue to Earth without breaking it. And the special companies created different types of glues to keep this sand creature intact, but they couldn't test the discoveries because all the creatures were protected by the Mars museums, and no one could find a new creature. So, and this was the premise. The same way Andrea Norton made the premise for the All the Cats Are Grey. All the Cats Are Grey. So this reporter everyone knew about one guy, I think Sam, who drank a lot, but he knew the surroundings, the deserts of Mars better than everyone, and he discovered some beautiful woman. And then appeared some lion guy and this same guy drank all the time, and this lion guy became Lion. Yeah, it was his name. He became a good friend of this Sam, and they moved somewhere because Lion said that he wanted to observe this beautiful woman of Sam. And then he discovered that it was another sand statue. He tried to transport it with some special material, but this creature just turned into sand. Then he came to his hotel and moved back to Earth. And Sam, after that, Sam stopped drinking. He just disappeared all the time in the deserts, but he was always sober, and it was strange from the point of view of all who knew him very well. And at some point he said that he has he found another unknown sand statue, and that lion guy appeared again, and again Sam started to drink, but not so much, and he invited this reporter to join them, and they all moved to the place where Sam had found this creature. But when they came to the place, there was some green thing, which was not the sand statue, and the lion guy was very frustrated and angry with all this stuff, and he kicked this green something with like a green plant with his leg, and this green thing created a new sand statue from him. And later Sam explained to the reporter that he discovered this source of these sand creatures when he ran away from some mouse, and this mouse smashed into this into one of these green plants, and this plant turned this mouse into the sand statue. And the next time he ran away from the next mouse, and when mouse had contact with this green plant, it turned into a statue as well. So this way he discovered how these statues were created, and he discovered his plan. He devised his plan to get the revenge on this lion guy for his beautiful sand woman statue. So when he created this statue from this guy, he used his some substance that lion had taken from Earth, and surprisingly, this substance created a cover that held somehow kept the sand statue without breaking it into sand, turning it into sand. And Sam transported this sand creature statue to Earth, and he got lots of money for it from the museums. He bought his own star spaceship, and he started to explore the cosmos to find the planet from which this beautiful woman with the wings came. Sam explained that most of these creatures, like man, Spider-Man, and crab frog, and this woman with the wings, they all came to Mars from other planets, and when they contacted with these green plants, they turned into the sand statues. The air was too I don't know the word, the antonym for the dense, yeah, very not dense for this woman to fly, so she couldn't fly with her wings, and somehow she contacted this plant and she turned into the sand again as well. So he wanted to find the world, the planet from which this woman came, because with her wings she was very beautiful. And this is the end for the story. It's very interesting, it's very original, you know. Andre Norton could use this story to create the whole world. Yeah, to create the whole world based on this particular story, that some creatures came to Mars and they turned into the sand statues. But they just wrote this small story, and it is really cool. It is really cool. I read it and I like it very much. It's very original. It's the real science fiction masterpiece. Very short, but it has a very beautiful idea and all the stuff with everything. So I'm going to read it in English as well. You know, I like these two stories much more than the story about the moon and some guy who needed some guy who needed copper to create his children and make lots of descendants. Okay, so I think it took me almost 45 minutes to describe these 3 stories, and maybe I will stop with this. My current plans for English is to continue listen to and read aloud the text about different careers, police and law, cooking and maybe medical, because most of these words are used, at least in Russian, throughout everyday life, but they are not used in Harry Potter or in animes that I watch in English. That's why I never meet these particular words, and I need them anyway if I'm going to describe these parts of my life in English. And another area in which I'm going to improve my English is about word formation. There are lots of exercises when the author takes the sentence from the original text, and then author makes a gap, skips one word, particular word, and gives you the word with the same root but of the different part of a speech, like verb or adjective, and you need to find in your memory the word, the noun that can be created from this part of speech, and put this noun into this gap. And it's a very interesting approach to creating links between different words in my brain, because One thing is when I read the whole text and just got the ideas that these words mean something and that those words mean other things. Another thing when I need to find some mistakes in the texts, because at this moment my brain starts to work, when I need to describe my thoughts using anything I have in my active vocabulary is another approach. But when I need to find the word with the same root but from the different part of speech, from the among the active vocabulary that I have, it really creates new connections, because in Russian, when I think about some particular word, I can create from my memory different words with the same root, but of different parts of speech in Russian. But in English, it's not very developed part of my English skill. And another interesting thing that I can do is to learn the opposites of the words, like the opposites, the good, evil, because this way I can think about any special or just any simple word, not only in the terms of the usage of this word in the sentence or the translation in Russian, but in the terms of different parts of speech that can be created using the same root which is presented in this word, or by giving the antonyms for this word, or even synonyms. Now, in the Frequency Dictionary of American English, they give you the words out of the context, but with the most frequency, the first 5,000 most frequent words. But they give you the words that can be used with this particular word, and these words really change the context of this word. Like, they give you synonyms, they give you the adjectives for the noun, or they give you the separated suffixes for the verbs. And in thesaurus you can find the word, lots of synonyms and lots of antonyms, and it's really enrich my vocabulary and the way I can think of different words when I have one particular idea. It's like different words can express one particular idea that I have in my mind. That's really cool, but it's a very long process, and it's not like I can learn all this stuff. I just need to perform these exercises from time to time. Like, I think it's about maybe 200 exercises or more. Each exercise contains maybe 300 exercises. Each exercise contains 25 sentences where I need to find the correct part of speech, like the noun or the adjective, from the given word and put it in the context of the sentence. So it will be like the way I did mathematics, for example, at school, when I just calculus in the university, when I just solved lots of exercises in mathematics. Just just because the program, the teachers needed me to do this, but in the end it was just for fun. It improves the way your brain thinks in the terms of different formulas. And with this I have almost an hour, maybe 55 minutes of speaking, and that's all for today, and this is the end of the video number 62, and I stop this video.